all those minutes of Tenna puppets.
Everybody, let me take that here. Hi there, my name is Corey Beepington. I'm the funny animator compositor guy. You may have seen my stuff like Pretty Kitty, Eviction Day, and Ace Posting right here. And I got this job because I met Rect at MomoCon, and I said, hey, Rect, do you know what compositing is? To the answer is, he didn't know, and that's how I got the job. And I love TV, I love TV, I love TV, I love TV. I will say it 100 times, my record is 45 seconds.
Clang, 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 clang.
You've been speed running it.
I've been getting faster.
You have it on the screen 12 times.
The screen goes longer than it can possibly exist for Corey's passionate love of TVs.
I did write it 100 times.
It just fades out eventually.
Just pops out of the text box.
That being said, now that we've introduced ourselves, what is the Rec channel? So, our channel does a lot with lyrics videos, which are lyrical adaptations of pre-existing video game songs, as well as original Nerdcore music with a strong focus on visual storytelling.
Rental Floss is a fan.
Rental Floss has acknowledged us. Let's not get too greedy. A lot of our music videos have a strong use of visuals to further convey the stories than just the audio can, which is why there's a ton of panels from the artists and animation in all our music videos. And because of this strong focus on story, and because I've been voice acting for all these years, we've been able to collaborate on multiple official indie games, including Indigo Park, for which I am the lead writer, voice of Lloyd for the Lion, actor extraordinaire, voice director, and one of the composers. You may have heard Rambly Review, which is a song I wrote for the game and got to do the official music video for on my channel. As well as recently revealed, I am the voice of Party Leo in the upcoming Bunny Graveyard 2 and Chunky Jump. Here's an example of some of the topics we've covered over the years.
Despite it all, you're still an underdog. Fighting the odds to tell your tale. The doubt comes roaring right back at you, but you keep on walking even when you fail. Friday nights feel disempowering when you don't score a viral hit. Then you bake a bit with views so towering. It lifts your spirits to the skies and you can't call it quits. So do your best. You've sacrificed for years to get a shot at the crown. And take no time to rest. It's still a long way up, but it's way, way longer down. So tell them, hey, if you like this song, then why not subscribe? Watch me play games weekends and nights streaming live. Check out my Patreon for special rewards. Catch me on my socials and join my fan Discord.
End screen, usually.
Good, they listen.
So, we talked about ourselves a whole bunch, but what exactly makes a Nerdcore song exist? Nerdcore is a pretty wide term that is not super frequently defined the same way, but I generally see it as music directly inspired by nerd media. That is TV, film, games, maybe even books. D&D is very popular recently as a source. Most frequently, like if you look on Wikipedia, this is defined as a subgenre of hip-hop with origins in the early 2000s and really blew up in the 2010s with stuff like the Discord remix and the FNAF 1 song by Living Tombstone. But if you want to get really technical about it, you could clarify a lot of things as nerdcore. There is a song written in 1969 by 1910 Fruit Gum Company called Bring Back Howdy Doody, which is about the TV show Howdy Doody, how they loved watching it and how they want to watch it again, which is pretty nerdcore. And for a more well-known example, there is Pac-Man Fever by Buckner and Garcia from 1981, which is just a guy who was utterly addicted to Pac-Man. Nowadays, nerdcore is generally tied to pop culture, whatever is really hot at the moment. It is a symbiotic relationship between the thing it adapts and the creator, because not only does it attract pre-existing fans of the thing you're adapting, it's also going to introduce a lot of new people to it. I've gotten countless comments on my Pizza Tower videos and my Smiling Critters videos over the years of people saying, thank you for making this. You know, it introduced me to Pizza Tower. It introduced me to Smiling Critters, and I love it now. That being said, most nerdcore tends to boil down to one of a few topics, frequently choosing retelling the game's story, sort of the events, describing the gameplay, very often scaredly describing the gameplay. So, I've got to push the buttons or I will die kind of thing going on. Or just making Freddy Fazbear dance. That's pretty popular. But that is not to say any of those topics are bad. There are some amazing songs written in any of those formats. But if you want to write more of a story to your song, you absolutely can. So why would you? There's a couple reasons. I find the most attractive ones are to expand on what you're adapting in a way people want to see more of, because, stories can only be so long. People always want to see more of what happens to their favorite characters. Could be a side adventure, could be expanding on something that's already there. Basically combining fan music with fan fiction. And on top of that, because you are writing a unique story, it's going to highlight a lot of what you specifically are bringing to it. And it can really help you grow your following, especially if you're doing like a chronological arc of songs, which is a continued story, which people are going to be very engaged in following, even if it's unofficial. It can be very engaging. So, you've decided to write a song that tells a story. Let's talk about concepting. When you are concepting a song based on a pre-existing thing, the most important thing is that you don't exclusively draw from what you're adapting. I find that a lot of the time people will struggle to tell a new story because they are scared of looking non-canon or breaking a specific rule, looking unofficial. But some of the best stories are told by blending a lot of other interests together into it. One example is that Take a Rest, which is currently my most viewed song, sitting at 26 million views, was highly inspired by the anime Paranoia Agent, specifically because at the end of the Smiling Critters cartoon released by Mob, I saw this shot of Catnap watching the critters sleep, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like Paranoia Agent's ending! And that, combined with just absurdly loving the Care Bears, led me to create the song. But you can find inspirations both audibly and visually from just about anything. Other songs, TV shows, games. Just don't be afraid to watch and consume other things and pick out things that really stand out to you and bring them together in a new song. The inspiration, again, can be musical or story-based, sometimes both, sometimes only one. Both are important to have when you're writing a song that tells a story, especially because you are not going to see this through unless you land on a story that you absolutely have to tell. You really have to be passionate about seeing this to its end, or you're not going to make it. Concepting as you continue will be very useful if you make a skeleton of the things you want to happen in your story before you fully write it out as lyrics. This can be sort of a basic premise. It could be just building up to one stupid joke. I've done that many times, and it can still be helpful. Or it could be a more detailed series of events. And sometimes it might get too detailed. Don't be afraid if you come up with a scene that feels unnecessary to cut that out of your skeleton. The earlier you cut it out, the less work you're going to waste. That's the kill your darlings rule. It's well known in writing. It is painful, but very important. There was an entire scene in Give a Rest, which is one of our Smiling Critters numbers that I've gone into on my channel, that was meant to imitate The Truman Show that I had to cut because it didn't really progress the story at all. Here's an example of one of the plot skeletons I've written for a song in the past. This was for Pizza Time Never Ends with lyrics. Oh, no. No. Death at Deservioli with lyrics. No, come back here. Come back.
You didn't see that.
You didn't see him. So this skeleton basically depicts Peppino trying to get a P rank, going crazy about it, annoying everyone around him until he finally gets a P rank, and then a Fork Knight runs into him, and he immediately loses it. And most of that made it into the final, but some things did change. He actually launches the Fork Knight into the sun halfway through the video, and it winds up landing on him in the middle of his victory animation, which I thought was more impactful and sort of gives Peppino a bit of like payback for hurting this little guy. So because I had the skeleton, I was able to workshop with it and follow through much easier by the end. That being said, not every musical tells a story. Not every song needs to tell a story. It has to be a full musical. It could be a small story. It could be a joke. More popish songs can still tell a great story. An example a lot of people have heard that is a great pop-oriented song that tells a story is the Living Tombstones' Step On Up featuring Monty Gator, which is very upbeat, very danceable, very catchy, but it does tell this sort of expanded story of Monty going around killing everyone. And because, even though it's a song about killing everyone, because it's so upbeat and poppy, It tends to be a little bit easier to make it lighthearted and a little bit easier to put together than if you're telling like a super long story that's going to require more song length and more details. So here's an example of a simpler song that we pulled together, also based on Five Nights at Freddy's, this one being Into the Pit.
I'm your average small town, small life, small hope, small scale, small fry, just like you. Or I was till I hopped into a ball pit and got hit with the switcheroo. Now instead of being average, I'm completely the same, but my father's been replaced with the yellow killer rabbit monster, always giving chase. I try to run away, I always come back. I go outside to play, I always play catch. I remember I forgot to eat today, I always bring snacks. Escape attempts are all brief, I always come back. Nothing to hide underneath, I always check cracks. Even if I lock the bathroom door and brush my teeth, I always fight black. I gotta fix this ASAP before my dad is Springtrap. I thought it was an act, but he's just gone mad. Cause ever since his big nap, he's acting less like Springtrap and acting more like Springtrap's my dad. He's still freaky and scary, and I'm no less so wary. Trapped my old dad somewhere deep inside that pit. But while I'd like to save him, that would be misbehaving. And Springtrap won't like that one bit.
So that entire song was made because I wanted to make a bunch of I'll always come back puns. And it was worth it. I heard two.
Where?
Shame on you.
All right, let's talk about actually writing the song. When you're writing a song, you're going to want to try and choose a compatible genre for the mood of your story. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make something dark and brooding for dark events, but if you want it to feel dark and foreboding, you should pick a compatible genre. If you want to be more upbeat, again, like Step On Up, you can pick something more upbeat, even if the tone is dark. Popular choices for Nerdcore include rock, pop, dance and EDM, jazz, hip-hop, rap, and electro swing, especially for games about like the 1930s, like Benny and the Ink Machine. But you can pretty much choose anything as long as it works for you as a composer and it works for your song. I highly recommend playing with a lot of different progressions over the course of your song that you can flow in between easily with different intensities. So sort of the ebb and flow of your story's impactful moments is able to work not just through your storytelling, but through your music composition as well. When you're writing your song and you have your skeleton, you should try to adapt your story beats into lyrics and exchanges between characters. One of the biggest struggles people often have with writing songs to tell a story is that they'll tell a story and then the characters sing and then they go back to telling the story. A song intensifies the emotions of the story already going on, so working it into your lyrics will help it feel a lot stronger and make your story beats more memorable. When you're doing that, it's totally fine to have spoken lines as well, but ensure that the characters are consistent between when they are speaking and singing. A lot of times people will sort of stretch a character's personality or vocabulary to force a rhyme, and that can take viewers out of the song a bit. So I highly recommend, even if you have a character that's a little out of character in your song, that's fine. Just make sure they are consistent in their characterization between speaking and singing. When you are recording and developing your song early, highly recommend recording quick versions of your tracks, basic 1 or 2 instrument drafts as soon as you think about your ideas. This could just be a riff, this could be a lyric idea. You will forget them, you will hate yourself. I'm speaking from experience. When you're recording, highly recommend also using a metronome. This will allow you to stay on beat as you're demoing it out, and you may even be able to reuse some of your vocals that you record if you keep a metronome on your initial demo, because you won't have to re-record them because they're off timing. That being said, always record placeholder vocals if you can, as early as you can, because as you're developing this with your team, and especially your artists, this will help them know what to do before you have your song finalized.
Especially your animators.
That's a big one. But of course, when you're developing your demo is only a planner. You don't have to one-to-one conform to everything it does when you're just developing it. When you're fully arranging it, don't be afraid to go all out. Bigger instrumentals, a lot of different instrumentals. You can change up the melody. You can change up your progressions, your bridge, your verses, whatever. Don't feel limited Whatever you come up with should be your decision, not a feeling like you have to commit. Since you'll be telling a story, you may need to have sound effects happen sometimes in the song. Through your own audio editing and through searching online, sites like Freesound, you should be able to find any sound effects you need in order to communicate your story very easily and for free. Here's an example of how one of our songs progressed from an initial piano demo to the finished number.
Make a meter, won't you make a meter for me to be? Make a meter. Make a meter, won't you make a meter? I'm begging on my knees. Oh, please. I've waited far too long by now to let you go. No, no, no. So make a meter that you love and no, don't look there, no!
Oh well, guess we're doing this the hard way again.
Make a meter, won't you make a meter for me to be? Make a meter. Make a meter, won't you make a meter? I'm begging on my knees. Oh, please. I've waited far too long by now to let you go. No, no, no. So make a meter that you love and no, don't look there, no!
Oh well, guess we're doing this the hard way again.
Make a meter, won't you make a meter for me to be? Make a meter. Make a meter, won't you make a meter? I'm begging on my knees. Oh, please. Waiting far too long by now to let you go. No, no, no. So make a meter that you love and no, don't look there, no! Oh well, guess we're doing this the hard way again.
All right, let's talk about vocals and voice actors. When you are casting for your song, you may be tempted to do every role yourself. Sometimes it works, but the more characters you have in the song, the more likely you're going to want to cast other people to sing, both for vocal variety and if you're doing stuff based on nerd media especially, to get closer imitations of the voice actors you're impersonating than you may be able to do on your own. You will find many voice actors that are very eager to work with you on social media, fandom spaces, and through sites like Casting Call Club. When you make a public casting call for your song, if you do, never close the auditions early. 90% of actors are going to submit on the last day because we're all human. We all procrastinate. And most of the projects I've cast for, the best audition I heard came in on the last day. That's saying the voice acting itself. Take it away, Cyan.
All right. As mentioned before, for most Nerdcore projects, you'd love to have a large repertoire of voice actors that you can just pick and choose from. For example, when I first joined the team on Challenge Ed with Lyrics, Tom needed somebody who was able to emulate Tom Edsworld. That's where I came in because Tom wasn't comfortable with his performance on that character, so I came in with, "Hey you, my name is Thomas Tumsco Ridgewell," and he said I fit perfectly. But it also helps give a lot of up-and-coming voice actors opportunities and connections. For example, as soon as I joined Tom's team, I ended up getting more auditions that I was able to go to. Like, indie games would reach out and be like, "Hey, do you want to audition?" Like Sushi Ben, they have a panel set up down at the indie booth. And it also helps bring the arrangement a lot closer to what the original content sounded like. For example, like, I believe my Bubba is a little bit different from Tom's, because mine's a little bit higher, and I believe Tom's is a bit lower.
Yeah, mine's a little bit lower when I demo them. So, live direction. Not every voice actor will love this, but if you can, voice directing your actors live can be great. You can bridge the communication between your voice actor and yourself, build the confidence of your VA through performing it live, and you will even get like some lighthearted moments and bloopers, and especially for a story-based number, when there are those like big, impactful lines, you want to make sure they are hit exactly the way you're envisioning them in your head. When you are live directing, whether you are choosing to do live or not, make sure you're communicating with your voice actors before and after you work to check in. Let them know, hey, you know, this worked great, this didn't, maybe you should change this up. When you're giving feedback, give as much as possible to avoid a ton of retakes. It is quite possible that you could waste a lot of their time if you're not descriptive enough. But if you give them enough information on what they need to do, you'll get back amazing takes that make your story all the better. And sometimes those takes might not even be your suggestions. It's good to be receptive to your voice actor's suggestions. On a project I worked on in the past, Indigo Park, for which I'm the voice director, there is a line in Chapter 1 where Rambly says, "Do you know why Rambly the raccoon loves Rambly's Railroad? Because I like trains." And my original voice direction for that was for the entire thing to be yelled very loudly and excitedly. But Vito, our voice actor for Rambly, decided to try one where he said it more calmly, and that made everyone in the booth laugh so hard that we kept that for the final game. Tuning, welcome to hell. This is the worst part of every single Nerdcore song. It takes forever.
All right.
No.
Once again, you didn't see that.
You didn't see that.
Or hear that.
It takes forever, it's miserable, and it's very important. Tuning is a balancing act between getting every note sounding like it's hit and letting your singer still sound human. Rule of thumb is anything more than 3 semitones above or below the note you're tuning is going to sound really fake and robotic. So unless your character is supposed to sound like T-Pain, you may need to do retakes or just accept a less than perfect note in order to keep your singing sound like a person singing it.
This is also why so many nerdcore artists are themed around robots. It's because it's really easy to get away with more exaggerated tuning when it's a robot.
So here's an example of some of Science Pass roles in the channel, many of which were tuned this way.
Alright, if I win, I get to destroy the entire town. If you win, I get to destroy the entire town. Deal?
Yeah!
Perfect. I feel evil, haunted, controlled, and possessed to blow up everything that's merry, wintry, and blessed.
You're a mean one out here to make a big mess of everybody's holly jolly holiday fun
Go and
fest.
call me a Grinch and I'll call you Cinder.
Dodging that was a cinch you shoot like a beginner.
What can you do? What do you say?
It's late, go to bed.
Aww, no one wants to go to bed when there's so much to do.
Why don't we sit and paint instead?
Or read a book or two.
You gotta have another way to help bring out our best.
Come on, it's his first day.
Oh, give it a rest.
Hey! Shame. All right, let's talk art and animation. So, if you are directing art, it is going to be really important for you to write in detail every single panel you want as descriptively as possible. Make sure you state any scene changes that you want to happen, whether that's a camera change, characters moving, anything like that, when they happen, because otherwise your artist will be confused at how much they're supposed to draw. Also very important is to provide reference sheets of characters and props in your music video. Props will often not be in the original material you're adapting, so you may have someone design them for you. Even if characters do exist, still provide the references, even if you're just grabbing them off Google, because not everyone knows who Baldy from Baldy's Basics is.
Who here doesn't know who Baldy from Baldy's Basics is?
See? They exist.
Tom was right.
Make sure you check in on work often. People will either be embarrassed or concerned or not sure what to do very often, and a lot of people will hide it. Letting everyone know this is an environment where they can ask questions and not feel stupid is going to be super helpful in creating a better environment and getting your music video done.
It is important, though, to also make sure, even if you want to do the art, you have to make sure it's within a reasonable amount of work. You might want to make a whole short, but depending on how much time it takes, it can take forever if you take too much for yourself. So it's important to have limits. Communicating with the other teammates is also super important so that everybody knows how the shots are progressing so that we are keeping up with the deadlines and making sure things are going. But not just for your teammates, but also for whoever you're being commissioned by, you know? Making sure the client knows and can avoid any sudden road bumps whenever they come up. You know, sickness, other problems.
You can always hand your artwork off to someone else if a road bump comes up. We have a whole team of artists. That's why 2 of us are hosting this part of the PowerPoint. Actually, this is on Canva. So
We're liars.
So anyway, here's some hot tips for you artists out there who are thinking of illustrating a Nerdcore video. Mind the editing. Heaven knows how many times like parts of my panels that I worked so hard on get cut off by the subtitles or like the way it's zoomed in or out. You're going to want to keep that in mind while you're making your thing. Make sure you thoroughly read the shot assignments and the lyrics. Otherwise, you'll accidentally mishear a line as being about buckets when it is not, and and have that haunt you for the rest of your career.
It was Boss Gates.
Yeah.
Never be afraid to like ask your director too if you're just unsure of something. Just reach out like, hey, is this what you want?
Yes, of course.
Don't be scared of your director. Your director is your friend.
Exactly. As are your fellow artists. Like I said, if you don't think you can finish a shot, hand it off to a fellow artist. If you're not sure how a shot is going, tell a fellow artist and ask for feedback. We'll be getting up to that in a little bit. Right now, actually.
Here's some of our resources.
Yes. So this is how an illustration comes together for our panels. This is for Take the Test, a Poppy Playtime / Smiling Critters fan song.
Some of the resources are character models, locations, and props.
Yep. These props and locations didn't appear in the original game, but our lovely art director, Crobobot, designed them for our use so it can remain consistent between shots. We wouldn't want to have the grade book blue in one shot and red in the other now, do we? Mm-hmm. And here's some works in progress of the art that we do. This is one that I drew. Hi. Yes, I was actually having a little bit of trouble with this shot, so I asked for feedback from the fellow artists. And one of our wonderfully talented animators, Inubis, who you will see more from later, drew up a little storyboard for me, and I took notes on like the expressions and like the composition, how everyone should be, and drew that out as a sketch, and then added line art and colors and shading, and now it's a thing.
Yeah.
Thumbnails. This is the single most important piece of art that's going to be attached to your video because of the ways the mystical algorithm works. Thumbnails decide whether people are going to watch your story at all. So you're going to want to balance something that looks nice and also pleases that algorithm. You don't need to put Mr. Beast and 500 Bs in every thumbnail you do, but you want to make people excited enough to click on your story to see it. I recommend working with someone that's done thumbnails in the past that understands how that works. And on top of that, make sure you're doing multiple variants of your thumbnail. It is insane how much tiny changes can massively impact a video, and YouTube now has A/B testing, which means you can try out different thumbnails at the same time, and it will go with whichever is clicked through the most. When Take a Rest launched, it was our worst performing original song of all time, and we ran YouTube A/B thumbnail testing on it, and all we did was make the background darker, and it's now sitting at 26 million views. I mean, background lighter. Yeah. Other way around. Little changes can be a lot. While you're doing that, don't be afraid to show friends or other people working on the video the thumbnails and look for their input. Sometimes your other artists will have ideas that could work really well for it.
Shout out to Mikey, our thumbnail guy.
All right, animation.
This is what I specialize in. You can tell because I drew an ugly image of myself to show how bad I am at it. Basically, I'm going to start with the director's side. If you plan to use animation, detail in full what you're going to need that animation for. Some art can be done in still art, and some can only really be achieved with animation. So if it's something high movement, or really just that, if it's high movement, or maybe you want to really hit an emotional moment, that's when you'll do animation, and that's when you'll detail out exactly what you want. That's also what you'll communicate to the animator. That way they know exactly what to do. The more specific, the better. That way small errors don't persist until the end of production. If you want to take it a step further, you can storyboard yourself. Even if you're not an artist, it helps tremendously. A lot of the work that goes into storyboarding from the animator's side is just conceptualization, taking something that's written and putting it into a visual medium. That's what takes up a lot of the time initially. So even if you're making the most crude storyboards of all time, it still does a massive service. Next up is communicate. This goes for both sides, but constant communication between both people, the animator and the director, will make it so that any errors or slight changes you want done can be caught earlier in production rather than 1 hour before the video needs to be uploaded. The more often you're communicating, the more likely those things are to be caught. And finally, be prepared to accept a vision that isn't entirely the one in your head. Just as an animator, I've often dreamed of the best music video in my head, sit down to draw it. It looks nothing like what I imagined. If that's happening between one person through the production telephone that goes on, it's very likely that it's going to look a little different than what you want. Next up, we're going to play a video from our music video for Rambly Review that was animated by Anubis, and Tom here did the boards for, and I think it displays a lot of what I just talked about.
Because I can't draw.
Hey, buddy! You okay? You look kinda tired. Do you need a moment? Don't worry, it's fine. I don't blame you for taking a rest after all that. Heck, I could go for a nice, relaxing defragmentation myself. But before you settle down, you up for a little survey to help us improve the park? Thanks for visiting Indigo Park. Hope all your dreams came true. If you've got some time and you're up for a lark, stick around for the Rambly Review. I'm here to offer my best to each valuable guest I assist. And lots of happy feedback ensures I get to exist. Let's try it. Were you satisfied with the rides? Yes or no? Were you satisfied with your guide? I sure hope so. Do you plan to come back? Will I see you again? Did your experience convince you to tell a friend about us? Did I earn your trust?
Oh, I dabbed at the right time.
Yep.
Simon says clap.
Thank you.
Next up is just kind of a general cheat sheet to kind of run through real quickly. Talking with your animators and guiding your animators, those are basically the two things I just talked about. Third is workshopping with them. If depending on the size of your production, you'll likely be working with maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 animators. So if you're working with them, think of it more as a collaboration than them as like your employees. It can help both of you workshop an idea together, help it feel a lot more earnest, and also you two can know what your limits are in what you're making for the video. Next up is give time to your animators. I've always been of the opinion that animation is not necessarily hard, but it is always extremely time consuming. It takes so much time to make a character move from point A to B, so make sure you're giving your animators ample time to get whatever you need done. If you have 1 week of a deadline, it's just not getting done. Next up, give money to your animators. That one's my favorite one. A lot of independent animators right now are basically working for free. Giving money to your animators alone is enough to make them maybe work with you again in the future. And it also keeps our lights on. Finally, you should trust in your animators. Just because it's a different medium, a lot of us have a bit of a different intuition on what may look better in animation as compared to still art or to the crazy idea you have in your head. Trusting in them if they sometimes make an intentional diversion from what you may have outlined within reason can sometimes lead to some of the best looking shots. With the previous video, you could see stuff like mild facial expression changes, or sometimes adding more hand movement than was detailed in the panel. I mean, stuff like that. It can really make the whole mile. The spirit of collaboration is the best part about any artistic project whatsoever, so really trust in that. Moving on, if you're an animator, be honest, nobody wants to deal with like a late or unsatisfactory product. If you're falling behind, if you're having any issues drawing something, if you don't even know necessarily what you're supposed to be doing, talk to your director. Don't be afraid of them. That's literally their job, is to direct you in what you're doing. It will make it better for everybody who's working on the project, including yourself. Next up, be efficient and aware of the time you have. If you have a full year to animate like 10 seconds, sure, go nuts. But if you have 10 seconds to animate a year's worth, feel free to take some shortcuts, reuse animation, within reason, obviously. Some music videos with extremely limited animation are extremely memorable. I'm sure some of you have seen the recent Flavor Folly music video, Static. Almost 50% of that is reused animation, and it's still engaging. Just make sure you're focusing on what makes it engaging, and of course, stay within your limits. Warm up, pace yourself, and make sure you're not overworking yourself. So many artists right now are eager, but also work themselves to the bone and give themselves massive exhaustion, mental health problems, and physical health problems just because they really want to get some work done. prioritize your health. That way, 20 years from now, you'll still be able to make animation rather than having wrist pain in your 20s. And finally, this is more specific to Nerdcore. Understand your character. As an animator, you should always look up official reference in this sort of thing. Animation reels, character design documents, any behind-the-scenes stuff. The people watching these videos are insane over these characters. They know how these characters move, and even the slightest difference can sometimes lose their attention in a way. If you take that extra mile to make sure the character moves like they would in canon, it'll make a complete difference for, honestly, not that much more work. And finally, back up your files. Every animation program is the most broken piece of software on earth. It doesn't matter which one you have, when you got it, what kind of computer you have, it will break. I wish I had the solution for it, but I wouldn't be complaining about it on stage to several people if I did. So basically, do the next best thing. Save often. Save multiple copies. Save onto an external hard drive if you have to. Make sure you have multiple ways of entry in case Adobe randomly decides to explode your product at the finish line.
Just to give you context on how bad this can be, for the Sonic Paradox project, Casino Calamity, which is the third Heroes musical, we lost 2 minutes of finished animation to a hard drive corruption because there were no backups anywhere else. And that's part of why it took 12 years.
Alrighty, now I get to talk. I said it earlier that I got this job because Rec didn't know what compositing was. Who knows what compositing is? Yeah! Anyway, you've probably heard the very famous phrase, "Don't worry, we'll fix it in post." Well, buckle up, because you're here. You're here in post. So for rec videos specifically, if there's a shot that needs to really look awesome, or if we're working with the animation, I get brought in kicking and screaming, happily, of course, to do compositing, which is basically taking that animation, effects, and backgrounds and putting it in a big soup, and out comes a finished frame. It's what you see on the screen. So what kind of things does compositing entail? It's got it's color correction, it's special effects being added. Sometimes I do camera moves, asset moves. There's a whole hodgepodge of what compositing can entail. There's some color corrections, there's adding blurs, there's making filters if we want to achieve a certain look with a video. But what's very important is pushing the mood and clarity of the shot. And I use many filters and adjustments to make that. For example, in the lower left screenshot there of my good friend Harley, for this shot in particular, I had a bunch of pictures of the smiling critters given to me, and I had to put them on each and every single television in that shot. Lots of fun. It took 2 hours, and then I had to do more to the shot to I really wanted Harley to look good in this. So I brought in vignetting. I added blurs on the back of the monitor and you can kind of see Catnap down there. I added more screen glow to Harley's screen, and I animated the assets too. Harley kind of slides and moves with the panels and the assets. That was a ton of fun to do, and I made this beautiful shot, and I know it's good because people were screen clipping it on Twitter. Let's go! Woo!
Yeah.
I love making TVs look good. Anyway, so compositing, it's a lot of stuff, and I can only make what you tell me what to do. So if you're trying to achieve a certain style, give me pictures, colors, give me pictures, steal everything you can and give it to me. I want it.
Within legal reason.
I just want to look at it. But I like free stuff. For example, when we made the Tenna music video, I Love TV, I had to do 12 different styles in 12 seconds. So I was looking up images of, okay, we have this one in the Sailor Moon style, let's grab that. We have this one in this Jetson style, let's grab that. And it's up to me to emulate those styles. So please, mood boards, references, just find something you like and give it to me. Go, I want this shot to be blue, like this scene. And I'm like, okay, cool, this helps a lot. When you're exporting out everything to my lovely animators, please, separate layers. If you make me mask things that don't need to be masked, I will show up at your house. I know some people will also give me a green. You learned this only on how much I love green screens. If you just a transparent PNG, TIFF, or a high-quality image red frame sequence of your files is so much better than a green screen, because if I'm animating Kermit and you give me Kermit on a green screen, congratulations, I've just sent Kermit to the ether. And now everything is bleeding through Kermit.
R.I.P.
Look at my insides.
Rest in peace, my boy Kermit. This is also this is the final step, and I'm going to need to communicate with every department. Animator, I need this on a separate layer. I need this. I will go around and go, I need this separate. Background people, can you split this layer? If you are working with backgrounds, PSDs, please. I love seeing things layered because I can move things around. The more I have to work with, the more I can do. So what does Compositing even look like? How does a shot go from final to finished? And we're gonna show that right now. So I do a lot in this stuff. I basically had to make this VHS effect antenna, and I wanted this, and I had to add snow, the background, these props fading in. I had to replace the green. We used the snow as matte and turned it into static, and I added these wiggle effects on the lyrics for this. This was crazy to do, and it was a lot of fun. I also made the master filter to achieve the original flavor look, and I got to add more static. This is filtering. Also, I got to do this. That's about how I felt at the end of this one. This was compositing.
I was the animator, so I
Yeah, we
know.
worked
I
together,
feel the
we worked
same.
together, let's
Yay!
Teamwork!
So, editing and post. Some people will edit it themselves. Some people will give it to someone else. If you are having someone else do your regular editing, which is simpler editing, make sure you are guiding any guest edited segments or videos, what specifically you want, especially if you're having them match your style. If you're doing subtitles in your song, do them first, because they will give snap points for your panels to be able to jump to easier. That way you spend less time timing things. If you have a bunch of static panels, it can be a little bit dry and draw away viewers' attention. So don't be afraid to move your panels around, pan zoom, maybe move characters around if you plan to have characters move in a scene to make the video pop a little bit more. And if you do plan to make characters move around, not just shift the panels, be sure to tell your artist which assets you plan to move. Like Corey said, PSDs are great. Transparency is great. It will let you do more in editing.
Also, if I can say one thing, remember how I talked about stealing? Anime does all of this to make things seem much more engaging when you're just staring at a still image. Study anime if you're working with these very limited panel sequences. They get away with this all the time.
Let me add on to that. Just say study any low-budget animation, any low-budget production. That's where you'll find some of the most interesting stuff and the most cost-savvy stuff.
You can get a lot of mileage by just jiggling the camera around. All those anime fight sequences, it's just animated on like 5 FPS and a guy like going crazy with the camera like, oh no! That's okay. No. Don't worry. It's fake. Don't tell
Got your
anyone.
nose. So, let's talk about the curse.
The curse.
This one's yours.
During production, there may be many road bumps or issues that aren't really seen coming forward. At this point, it happens so often we've given it a nickname and we call it direct production curse. It's stuff, road bumps similar to or that can cause problems from up to months to even years of delay, like with the Sonic thing.
Yep, that was 12 years of delay because of hard drive corruption.
Yes. Either delaying or even just wasting the work.
So, a couple of examples of things that have happened to me while trying to make videos. Frame rendering glitch in my Pizza Tower video, Unexpected, made me render it over 20 times and miss Christmas with my family. Cover music video got copyright claimed even though I made my own instrumental and vocals for it. So I had to write an original song that matched the beats of the fully edited video I'd already done. I had an existential crisis making the Smiling Critters harmonize while I was making Give a Rest. And Make a Mita. Just everything about Make a Mita.
Everything.
If you know, you know.
Absolutely everything.
Yeah,
explain
I like
that.
this one right
And
after
it
that.
doesn't just happen to you as the director. It will happen to your team too.
Yeah, we've run into our own curses. A lot of people get sick when it's time for them to do their thing. Their energy is shot. Their arms are indisposed, especially if they're a voice actor. Their voice isn't working. And their device is not working. The worst. Yeah.
Or like a charger breaking and it takes like 3 days for you to get a replacement.
Or your art program of choice, just crashing out. One time I had a file so big and so full of like many layer filters that it would take like an hour for me to move like one object a single pixel, and then the program would crash.
In a similar vein, when working on that static music video you just saw, Adobe Animate inexplicably decided to delete random layers, output at different resolutions, just completely remove frames for no reason,
I was
desync
there.
certain frames for some reason, hang on certain frames for some reason, making it impossible for Corey to edit and making me have to sit at my computer for 2 days straight just saying, render again. Render again.
Every time Jay would open, and I'd be like, Jay, the render's broken again. Jay, the render's broken again. Like, I feel like you're like with anxiety when you see Corey Beepington is typing.
There's also misplacing important documents and ending up stuck in another country, and having a device glitch, wipe all your hard work in a day before the deadline, and
of course,
Make
a Mita.
It was supposed to be 3D. I just had my kid, learned a bunch of 3D stuff. Devs got weird and we canned it.
yeah. We had a whole different version of that.
Curses sometimes even happen for smaller stuff, like this panel.
I got sick the week before.
I had a 1.5-hour delay on my train.
I got a text that said that our flight got delayed by 8 hours, and it turns out to have been a misread, and we almost missed it.
After driving 7 hours from eastern Tennessee, my car broke down at the wrong train station, meaning that everybody had to go to the right train station, then catch a bus, and my car is currently in the shop for $600 worth of damages, and there's nothing I could have done to prevent it.
And my hotel just sucked.
And yet, here we are.
We live!
So, when you run into stuff like that, what do? Some stuff you'll be able to plan. Plan ahead for any technical difficulties you've already experienced beforehand, stuff like missing work, file corruption, broken computers, and have systems in place to account for stuff like that, ready to replace things. Backup artists, actors, and editors. Do not be afraid to say to your director, hey, I can't do this, something horrible went wrong, I need to step down. Any good director will have a backup plan ready. And if they don't, they will make it happen. Because sometimes, no matter how much you plan to prepare for stuff, things will still go wrong. Life's like that sometimes. So when that happens, just be ready to think on your feet, make changes for errors you don't have time, knowledge, or resources to fix.
Thank you.
Thank you, that made it all worth it.
That was perfect.
All right, promotion and reach. So some people will just shadow drop a song and say, hey guys, I made this song, Poppy Playtime, enjoy. That's not going to get anyone seeing it. You have to be even louder with a story-based song than a regular song because you have a specific angle you need to sell people. So actually promote it. Show work in progresses and teasers early. I'd say at least a week in advance to get people talking. Promote this everywhere you can. YouTube, X, Twitter, Spotify if you can, Tumblr, your neighbor's dog. Doesn't matter.
Publicly available whiteboards.
Yep, wherever you're doing, just promote your stuff. Get it seen. The more places you promote, the better chance it's going to take off on one of them. Here's an idea. Here's an example of a pre-release video that I forgot to turn the volume up for. Here's an example of one that we did.
Trust Mr. Tanner, and in a week you'll see your troubles start to fade. I've got a knack. Join Mr. Tanner and say I love TV, and watch the TV show. It loves you back. I love TV. Say it with me. I love TV. I'm keeping count. I love TV. Say it for me, and I'll assign your love a number, amount.
So when you're actually releasing it, if you have a lot of hype behind your video, thanks to your promotion or thanks to the topic itself, highly recommend premiering them. This can bring a lot more excitement to your video, get your community together, reacting in real time, and it can be good for the video's growth. If you're doing something that's maybe not as popular, people don't really care, or it's just sort of a basic release, maybe like just a teaser, just a regular release might work better for that. You don't need to premiere everything, but regardless of how you premiere it, keep promoting your song after you release it. Shorts, streams, behind-the-scenes stuff, no matter what you're doing, keep people interested in this. Have people go back and watch it again if they've already seen it.
Blab about it with the fans.
Blab about it with your fans. Make and fill playlists, especially if you have a sequential series. This is going to be vital for people keeping up with the story and wanting to see everything you do. Streaming is also super important. Even if you have a very visually striking video, people might still like the song. People might still want to listen to it. So give them the opportunity to listen as much as they want, with or without the video. Here's an example of a post-release promo we did for that same song.
Here's every Tenna and Chris redesign in our Tenna song I Love TV. For The Simpsons, Tenna's screen became yellow, but Chris is still blue. With The Jetsons, George and Elroy directly inspired Tenna and Chris's designs. The old game show is based on the old 60s version of Jeopardy! Tenna's TV head is a little older too. The 90s Nick designs took inspiration from both Rocco's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy. Mew Mew Power inspired the anime forms, Chris gets dog ears, and Tenna gets stuck as the mascot. At one point, he was a rabbit. Static reuses our Tenna static design while adding Chris. Tenna's weird mouth makes him the spitting image of Clutch Cargo. In SpongeBob, Tenna has to be Karen. Chris is just a fish. The Schoolhouse Rock designs are a reference to Scooter Computer and Mr. Chips. Our amazing marionettes were designed after the marionettes of Woody's Roundup. SBN Chris and Tenna are Spampton quality. Chris also appears in Mario 3, Mega Man, and Final Fantasy style in the games. And while it's only kind of a design, Ace the TV plays Tenna in the live-action sequence. Which design was your favorite? Let me know in the comments and check out the full music video to see them in action.
It was his first acting job. He's very proud of it.
We love Ace.
So even long after your videos come out, it's still a good idea to watch their growth and see how people reacted to them, especially finding out what parts of the story fans enjoyed. If they want to see more of that story, it can be worth it to make sequels to even just a simple song. When I first made Take a Rest, I had no idea it would be big, and I sort of painted myself in a corner, but I painted myself out of that corner because people wanted more. And on top of just making more, encourage fan works, engage with them. Fans will create some amazing things for you, and those are also helping promote your songs and your stories. Here's a few examples of fan work we have seen.
Don't worry, 7 Smiling Critters is still
Well, we've
enough
got this
to
playing
sing the
if you're gonna
Smiling
do
Song.
part of the Q&A afterwards.
It's
It would be good for you to start playing it right now. That way we can make the most of the time.
Cool.
Yep, why not?
This carrying rules. Stupid crackly peanut thing. Just noise for babies. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
At Indigo Park, there is a stark contrast to everything I know this place should be. But out of the dark, you've given a spark of sunshine to this kingdom's faithful devotee. At Indigo Park, more than my remarks are mysteries. Even I don't know what we might find. But fight through the dark, and I'll be your spark of sunshine to get you out of any bind.
Till all my old friends are united again, and I won't feel so left behind. Okay, I'll let you go. See you next time, buddy. Please.
Hello, MAGFest. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Jake Wentz Cake, and I'm inspired by Rex's amazing art to make art of my own, such as this. And this. But most importantly, stuff like this.
It cannot be! Mamma mia! Is that Rambly from Indigo Park? You're sitting here fishing. Why my livelihood's on the line? I've become a robot.
That song at the end was mine, don't worry. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much again for this opportunity. Thank you, Rex, for being such a good inspiration.
So that's about all we've got to talk about. If anyone's got questions, step on
To
up.
the mic.
All
Hello,
right.
question askers.
What do we got?
Welcome.
This is working, right?
Think so. We can hear
I
you.
believe so.
If not, it's not too loud
If
in
it's
here.
not, we can still hear you.
Yep.
All right, cool. I made my first Nerdcore song it's coming up on a year ago.
Cool.
And the entire time I've been doing this Nerdcore stuff, I've mostly been doing stuff by myself. and I've been thinking about getting a team. And you mentioned the casting call club, and I wanted to know, because like I recently got recommended by a friend. Would it be like, is it a good idea to like get team members from casting call club as well? Because I heard they have like.
I mean,
other
yeah,
shows
you
as
can
well.
get auditions for things that aren't just voice actors. You're going to find mostly voice actors, but people can do multiple things. I'm a voice actor. I also write. I compose music. You can easily put in roles there. Just bear in mind, it's usually easier to get voice actors for free than a lot of the more time-intensive roles. But if you're still really small, you will find people willing to work for you. A lot of people here started working for me before I was big enough to afford to pay.
Another quick thing is if you have anybody making fan art for you, that's a good place to look because they're already kind of in your ecosystem. Or if there's any specific artists you just like their work of, reaching out is never a bad option. Real, you miss all the shots you don't take
That's
situation.
how I got here, after all.
You can also post to like Twitter or a bunch of other sites like, I'm looking for artists for this. Just please do be transparent if it is unpaid or paid work. Because I've had times where, because I'm always looking for work as a freelancer, and it's like, oh, here's a thing. Oh, they love my work. And you've spent all this time applying, and then they tell me, well, it's volunteer only. I'm like, well, you should have said something, buddy. I got to pay my Adobe subscription. And that's fine. Just be transparent about, especially when working with other people, know your budget, know what you're working with financially. Because if you're like an unpaid project, don't be like, I need this tomorrow. I need you to put your plans to see your dog on hold because I need this tomorrow and I'm not paying you. Like, so just know your budget and know. It's good to know that as the artist finding it. And this post on like any social media. You'd be surprised what you can get with that.
Promoting your casting is just as good as promoting your regular videos or anything. Just hit it as much as you can, hit it as hard as you can, and you should find something.
I'm some random New Yorker that Tom kidnapped from Twitter. I mean, you can find anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
I auditioned a few times and they were bad, but it alerted me to them to my existence.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've only got 1 minute left, so we'll do you, and then we should close up.
Yeah.
What's your question?
My name is Ninja Dragon Warrior. I'm working on a 2-hour-long Disney movie. Yeah.
Whoa. Nice.
Might be 3 hours.
Wow.
You said you're an animator, voice actor, writer?
I do not do a ton of animation. I can get boards out, as you saw, but
No, it doesn't matter. So I was hoping that you all could work for me.
Oh.
And I can do exposure for you all in return. I have about 200 subscribers on YouTube. And I
How much
figure
you paying?
No, it's not about the money.
I gotta pay my Adobe subscription.
I don't care about your prescriptions.
My Adobe subscription. I can't work if I don't have my software subscriptions.
Shit posting aside, jokes aside, how do you all finance this stuff? As far as, I know a lot of artists just go full on, we'll do it ourselves, we'll animate it ourselves. I know for Monkey Wrench with Zarel, he does like the lion's share of work. For you all, Kickstarter, Patreon, what would you recommend as far as the money side of this? Because that's the reality we live in, is the financial side being the most difficult to achieve.
That's a great question. In terms of the way I finance my videos, a lot of my videos are sort of financed on the ad revenue of older videos. And the way you achieve that is by starting your videos really, really cheap, doing as much of the work you can yourself early on. My first video to ever blow up was Jevil with lyrics. It was just me singing and some gameplay. That got to a couple million views. I was able to put a little more work into the future ones because there was interest expressed. That continued on with FNF Musical getting absolutely massive and starting to afford more and more. The more you grow, the more easily you'll be able to hire more people and the more ambitious your projects can be.
So
don't be
important.
Scale is important. Don't be afraid to start small if you only have a tiny following and you can't afford to pay a lot of people for a lot of work.
The video I found him on was just a PNG with his voice on it.
It was just a PNG of sprites.
A question, if I may ask, how much about merchandise as far as it being a factor?
Merch it, baby.
Merch it. We're working on ours.
Can you turn it into a keychain? Good.
Do literally anything you can. I'd also like to mention
Patreon
you
too.
don't necessarily need to have like super art intensive videos to have a storytelling video. We do that because that works best for what we do. but a lot of nerdcore artists will simply just do visualizers and maybe have 1 or 2 pieces of art. If you look at really early stuff, the art is super crude, but it still gets the point across. Work within your limits. Obviously, the cheapest thing to do is to do everything yourself. Obviously, that's not always possible, but even like a bad version of what you're doing yourself is still better than no version.
Perfect. Thank you all so much.
Just make
Absolutely.
dumb stuff. I'm not joking. Make dumb stuff. My biggest video was me putting a Nick Jr. face on a CRT TV. It took maybe like 2 hours, and it got 2 million views, and now he's a plushie.
We love it.
People love it.
My son!
Yep.
All right, if you want to talk to us later, we'll be around, but we do have to let the next people set up their stuff, so I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much.
If you want free stickers, find me.
Shout out to Rosie who helped organize this PowerPoint.
Hello, it's me,
Hello.
Rosalind.
I
I
need
made this
Canva.
PowerPoint. I hope you guys are good.
You go first. You got
Like and
4
subscribe.
stuff.